Ladies, let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable, but it needs to be said. Have you looked in the mirror lately and noticed little whiskers that didn't used to be there? Maybe on your chin, your upper lip, or even the sides of your face. Well, you're not alone. And no, you're not imagining it. But here's the thing. Doctors say many of us are accidentally making it worse. Today, I'm going to tell you the 6 mistakes we senior women are making that are causing this facial hair growth, and what to do instead. Stick with me to the very end, because the last one is the most common and the most surprising. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Have you ever tried to remove facial hair at home? Let's get into it. Mistake 1. Ignoring hormonal changes. I remember being in my early 50s thinking, well, menopause is coming, I'll just get through the hot flashes, and then I'm done. But no one told me about the aftermath. The slow and silent shift that keeps happening long after your last period. You see, as we age, our estrogen levels naturally decline, and that's perfectly normal. But what most women don't realize is that our testosterone doesn't drop quite as fast. So what happens? That slight hormonal imbalance gives testosterone the upper hand, and that can lead to those pesky little dark hairs popping up on our chin, jawline, or even sideburns. It doesn't mean you're becoming manly or losing your femininity. It just means your body is shifting gears, and you need to shift with it. Doctors say there are natural ways to support your hormones, from including flaxseed in your diet to managing stress, to asking your healthcare provider about hormone balancing herbs like maca or evening primrose. I personally started tracking how I felt after meals, added a little more fiber and healthy fat to my breakfast, and stopped skipping meals altogether. Believe it or not, after a few months, my skin looked calmer, and the facial hair growth slowed down noticeably. So don't just assume this is the new normal. With small adjustments and support, you can help your body age more gracefully. Mistake 2. Using the wrong skincare products. I once bought a fancy little cream from a department store. It was labeled Age-Defying Miracle Formula. I was so excited, thinking I'd just found the fountain of youth in a $79 jar. Well, my face broke out like a teenager's, and a week later, I noticed more tiny hairs growing along my upper lip. That was the moment I learned that not all products are made for mature skin, especially hormone-sensitive skin. Here's the science behind it. Many skincare products contain endocrine-disrupting chemicals like parabens and phthalates. These mimic hormones in the body and can interfere with your natural balance. That disruption can lead to more facial hair, even if you're doing everything else right. Some anti-aging serums also have strong retinoids or acids that can irritate the skin. And irritated skin often leads to inflamed hair follicles, which can make those hairs grow in thicker and darker over time. What should you do instead? Look for words like fragrance-free, non-comedogenic, and formulated for sensitive or mature skin. Gentle plant-based products like rosehip oil, chamomile toner, or vitamin C can be just as effective without wreaking havoc. I now use a simple, clean routine. And let me tell you, it made a difference not just in my facial hair, but in how my skin feels. Soft, calm, comfortable. So the lesson here is simple. Don't let fancy labels trick you. Read the ingredients and listen to your skin. Mistake 3, plucking and shaving incorrectly. All right, ladies, this is where we get real. How many of us have sat in front of a magnifying mirror, tweezers in hand, on a Sunday morning, yanking out every stubborn hair one by one? You find one, then another, and then another. Before you know it, you've spent 20 minutes hunting chin, hairs like you're on a treasure hunt. I've done it many times. But here's what dermatologists will tell you. Constant plucking and incorrect shaving can actually stimulate hair growth over time. Plucking, especially if done frequently, causes trauma to the follicle. Your body thinks it needs to protect that area. So sometimes the hair grows back thicker and darker. Shaving? It's not bad on its own, but if you're using a dull razor, skipping skincare prep, or shaving against the grain, you're just irritating your skin. That leads to redness, bumps, and potentially more noticeable hair growth. Here's what works better. Use a gentle facial razor designed for women, not your husband's old blade. Always prep your skin with a light oil or cleanser to avoid tugging. Shave with the grain, and don't go over the same spot multiple times. Moisturize afterward with something calming like aloe vera or hyaluronic acid. Better yet, look into dermaplaning or professional options like laser hair removal, which can provide longer-lasting results without daily upkeep. Since I changed my routine, I only touch up once a week, and I no longer dread looking in the mirror. Trust me, how you remove hair matters just as much as when you do it. Mistake 4. Eating too many hidden sugar foods. Let me tell you a little story. Back when I was in my 60s, I used to think I had a pretty healthy diet. I didn't eat candy or drink soda, and I stayed away from donuts, except the occasional one with my grandkids, of course. But one day, I was at my doctor's office getting my blood sugar checked, and she gently asked me, "How much hidden sugar are you eating?" I blinked. "Hidden sugar?" I asked. She handed me a list: granola bars, flavored yogurts, fruit juice, pasta sauces, even my so-called healthy salad dressing. Turns out, I was flooding my body with sugar without realizing it, and it was messing with my insulin levels. When your insulin is constantly spiked, it throws your hormones into chaos. And guess what? That chaos can lead to excess facial hair. Especially for us older women, our bodies aren't quite as forgiving as they used to be. That balance between insulin, estrogen, and testosterone is delicate, and sugar is like a sledgehammer. So what did I do? I didn't go on a crash diet. I didn't eliminate everything I loved, but I started reading labels. I swapped out my sugary yogurt for a plain Greek version and added fresh berries. I traded the bottled dressing for olive oil and lemon. And slowly, over a few months, the changes showed up in the mirror. My skin looked calmer. I wasn't getting as many breakouts. And most importantly, the new facial hair slowed down. It wasn't magic. It was just food. So take a closer look at your pantry. Sugar hides in more places than you'd think, and your hormones are paying attention. Mistake 5. Skipping regular sleep and stress management. Now, this one might surprise you. What does sleep have to do with facial hair? Well, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how much worse everything feels after a few nights of poor sleep? Your skin looks dull, your patience wears thin, and your cravings go wild. It's not your imagination. As we get older, sleep becomes more than rest. It becomes healing. And when we skip it, even just for a few days, our cortisol, that's the stress hormone, starts creeping up. And here's the kicker. Chronically high cortisol lowers estrogen and raises testosterone. And we already know what happens when testosterone gains the upper hand. Yup, facial hair, chin hairs, even those wiry ones that seem to come out of nowhere overnight. And let's not forget stress, the kind that builds quietly, worrying about your adult children, missing your partner who's passed, or simply feeling invisible in a fast-paced world that values youth. I used to stay up late, scrolling on my phone, reading the news, or lying in bed, replaying old memories I couldn't change. My sleep was shallow, my stress was deep, and my body was fighting to stay balanced. Then I made some changes. I started putting my phone away an hour before bed. I began journaling, not long entries, just a few lines each night. And I found a soft, slow podcast with a soothing voice that helped me drift off. The results? I woke up more rested. I felt less anxious. And yes, my skin cleared, my energy rose. and those pesky hairs became far less noticeable. Don't underestimate your body's wisdom. It wants to heal, but you have to give it the chance. That starts with sleep, quiet, and grace. Mistake 6. Believing facial hair is your fault or shameful. Now, listen closely, because this one is deeply personal. For years, I felt embarrassed every time I saw dark hair on my face. I'd rush to pluck it out before anyone noticed. I'd make sure the lighting in my bathroom was dim when guests visited, just in case. I even canceled a date once because I forgot to take care of the hairs on my chin. But the hardest part wasn't the hair. It was the shame I carried. And I know I'm not alone. Somewhere along the way, we were taught that facial hair on a woman, especially an older woman, is ugly, dirty, even unfeminine. But let me tell you something. That's a lie. Facial hair is a natural biological response. It happens because of hormones, genetics, and age. It's not a moral failure or a personal flaw. It doesn't make you any less of a woman. It doesn't erase your beauty, your kindness, your power, or your grace. What does matter is how you care for yourself. Do you love your body enough to learn what it needs? Are you willing to nurture instead of punish? Because that right there is the difference between fighting your body and working with it. Once I shifted my mindset from shame to understanding, everything changed. I started researching, asking my doctor real questions, and treating myself with the same tenderness I used to give my children. I no longer feel the need to hide or apologize. I simply care for myself, just like I'd care for a dear friend. And you know what? I've never felt more beautiful, not because I fixed my face, but because I finally made peace with it. Now, if this helped you, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below sharing your own story. And if you haven't already, make sure to sign up for my Savvy Senior newsletter. It's full of helpful tips just like this for wise women who want to feel good, look good, and live well. Remember, taking care of yourself is not vanity, it's vitality. Until next time, take care of that beautiful face. Your Savvy Senior Sister,